Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another day of Kit Conspiracy that MK and I are doing all month long. It just means we're using similar or the same kits each week for 1 week only, and then we switch throughout the whole month of November. We do this November and April, and it's a lot of fun to see what the other person makes because we have very different styles. And we're using very similar or the same supplies depending on whether our kit is built out of our stash or if it's something we purchased. And we do kind of a combination or every other week alternating. So this particular kit is a kit that we built out of supplies that we were using for our Alaska trip that we did with our spouses. And it's a little bit of 49 and Market Everywhere, along with a cruise kit that we purchased on board the Princess ship that we were on for this particular cruise. And that's where all of these 4x6 cards came from. So I'm happy to get those used. I'm also really happy to be using this Stampin' Up! Stamp set. We purchased it right around, I don't know, maybe just after the cruise. And I think I've used it. I don't think I've actually used this kit. I purchased this and a couple other ones at the same time, and so this one has been waiting to be used. Maybe I might have used the crab once before just to test it out. So I was kind of playing around with my inks and trying to find the best one to match. I did use my swatch book to check that out, but I ended up stamping a couple of different colors anyway, just to double check and make sure they were stamping the way that I wanted them to. I end up using Catherine Pooler, it's one called Polished and one called Flame, I'm pretty sure. I also did try the Coral Cabana one, which is the one on the far left-hand corner. I also tried Rockin' Red, which is on the far right-hand corner, just kind of playing with it to see which one I thought looked the best. And I believe Polished and Flame are the two that I end up using the most, but I do end up cutting out the other ones that I did for test cuts, and I'll use them maybe somewhere else. I think one of them might end up on this layout, because not all crabs are the same color exactly, so you know what, we're just gonna go with it. And then I'm also using some fiber, which is from the floral section at Hobby Lobby. And I love the fiber. I love the actual texture of it. And so I'm going to go ahead and roll that out and use some on each page. I am doing a double page spread today. And it is about a restaurant that we went to while we were in Sitka. So I am accidentally going to put a Catch a Can stamp on this. I do not know why I had it in my head, or my photos, maybe on the photo reel they were close together. I don't even know. But anyway, these were in Sitka. We spent the day with Jason and MK and did a bunch of sightseeing, walking around the town and whatnot. If you follow our channels, the beam paints that we sometimes use were from Sitka. They were one of our, I like to buy things that I'm going to use for my, not memorabilia. I do buy some memorabilia too, like stickers and that kind of stuff, but things that I'm going to take home, keepsakes and that kind of stuff, I prefer to buy stuff I'm going to use, because a t-shirt's not going to last me a real long time. Well, it might last me a long time. I do have some very old t-shirts, but they take up a lot of room, right? So I don't buy a t-shirt everywhere I go. I don't buy a pin. Well, I might buy a pin. I usually buy stickers because I can put them in my scrapbook, and then other things that I might use for my crafting or household stuff. I don't know. Not usually too much decor, although on this particular trip, my husband did buy a watercolor painting by a local artist, and that is the story that's going to get written in the blank space there at the top. So we kind of split up. The boys went over to the tavern while MK and I were visiting the art shop. And when we met up again, my husband had left the painting at the tavern. And so by the time we got to this restaurant, which is right near the port where we need to get on the ship, and we realized it, he hopped back on a bus to go back to the tavern to get it. And kind of in a hurry, and they went to the restaurant, and I actually called the tavern, and the owner was there. He answered the phone, and sure enough, he had the painting, and he actually drove it out to me, which was really cool and very, very generous and kind of them. So, um, so yeah, that's why there's no photos of me or my husband in here. That is my soup sitting there because, I came in and ordered soup after it was delivered to me, and then we kind of had to wait for my husband to get back on the bus, or from the bus. So that's the story that's going in there. In the meantime, I'm going to be using a bunch of wood veneer from MK's shop. I'm going to use the seaweed or kelp, whatever. I don't actually know what this particular pack is called, but I'm going to link it up down below for you. I am going to remove some of the masking that's over the top of it and ink it up with one color, and then I'll remove the rest of the masking and ink it up with another color. So it's going to have two different shades of green. The kelp or coral or whatever that is green already on my land. I don't know what Stampin' Up's intention was for it to be. It is one of the dies that comes in the die set for the crab and the lobster that is in this stamp set. So I went ahead and used those. And then I am using some sea glass, and I am using some martini because I wanted a green that was a little towards the blue and a green that was a little towards the yellow to kind of draw everything together, because there is some turquoise in that bottom right hand card, and then MK's sweatshirt is very blue, so I wanted to bring in some blue and not just have a flat green. And then I also wanted to tie it back to the green that I already used on those other pieces, which were straight off of my blending brush. I didn't ink up my blending brush to do those pieces. And so, just trying to tie everything together. So I used sea glass and martini, and I really love the way that it ends up looking. So I'm just going to tuck those into my clusters. And then I'm going to pull out the seahorse and the two fish in this particular pack. I could have put the other ones in there. They definitely have, octopi or whatever. But I decided to go with these smaller ones. And I am just using, I think this is cummerbund ink. It's Catherine Pooler ink, and the name of the color is called cummerbund. And so I'm just lightly putting those on to bring in more of the blue, and I like the way that looks, so I think it's going to go really well. And I nearly pulled out tropical fish to use because I'm so used to doing the Caribbean photos that we've done together and documented together, but the look of an Alaskan ocean or even California coast is definitely not anything like tropical waters. So in California, when you do scuba diving or any of that kind of stuff, you actually, part of your certification is to do what they call a kelp crawl, which is to be able to go through the kelp forest and not get snagged on it with all of your equipment. And so you kind of learn how to do that. And so I'm imagining that Alaska might be similar. I have no clue because it's too darn cold to try to even look in the water there. But I'm imagining it might have kelp also. I have no idea. But I know it's not tropical. So I had to think twice when I pulled out the tropical fish. Now, is a seahorse tropical? I have no idea. We have them in our aquarium here, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And the other fish, the one in the upper right definitely has a tropical look to it, but it looks like a fish. So there's nothing like, nothing that it gives it a tropical look like the angelfish style of fish. So anyway, if they're not geographically correct, it's going to be okay. I hope nobody questions it, right? These little orangey pieces, I am punching out of an older Tim Holtz punch that I've had in my stash for quite some time. And to me, it looks like coral, so I punched it out of the orangey color to represent kind of an orangey coral. And that paper was made using the Lindy's Magicals and the orange color. I have no idea what it's called right off the top of my head, but that's what it was made with. And Let's see here. And then I did use liquid glue to hold most of this down. Um, yeah, maybe I should have used some, I don't know, glue gun. Maybe glue gun would have held it down better. But I just put my acrylic block over the top to hold it in place. And that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. I know I don't have any journaling on there yet, but I will eventually. And I actually think I might go back and add some splatter as well, because it's looking a little bare over in those watery areas, or not watery areas, but the textured areas with all of the embellishments. So I think I'm going to add some splatter a little bit after the fact. I will link everything down below for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. I'll be back again with another one real soon. See you soon. Bye-bye.